Hello and welcome to Coffee with Dr. Carla. I'm Dr. Carla. This is Kevin Anderson, and we are so glad that you are here. Our goal today is to talk about some mental health related issues and to end the stigma surrounding them. Excuse me. All right. One of the big buzzwords running around is authenticity, right? And living your authentic life. I almost need to say, and go. Because the reality of it is like that is like such a supercharged thing.
Yeah.
And while that's awesome, it also has a lot of complexity and intricacies to it as well. So I'm just curious, where, in your experience, how has that shown up in your life? How is it that, or do you try to live authentically? And if you do, how you do?
Yeah. So it starts just like a lot of things with self-analyzation,
Yeah.
right? And I think for most people, we get to a point where we're just not happy or feeling fulfilled in one or multiple areas of our lives. And a lot of the reason for that, I believe, is conformity, right?
The need to be the chameleon,
Yeah.
people pleaser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that we're kind of indoctrinated throughout our education as children with learning how to fit this into this hole, and fitting the mold and going through the exact same motions as everyone else. And it may be a life that doesn't resonate with you emotionally, right? So I think that a lot of us, and myself included, a lot of us live parts of our lives that aren't authentic, that are kind of fake. And I think it has to do with what we learn. I think it has to do with people pleasing, right? And even like with our parents, a lot of us, we make decisions based on what they want for us. What you're going to go to college because I went to college, or you go to this college specifically.
I'm an alum from here. You should go
Exactly.
there, right?
Yep. And I think as when we're young, it's difficult to know what authenticity means or what we even want out of life or who we want to even become. But again, we're not even brought, like, that's not even brought up with us. What do you want to be as something else? But like, who do you want to be? What really resonates with you? And I think a lot of it has to do with like life skills and time to develop that. But the purpose is to always be paying attention.
And I also wonder, can you be your authentic self if it seems to fit in better, right? So, for instance, my authentic self says, hey, I want to have some fun with my hair. So for, I don't know, 10 years, I shaved my head at a number one. And, it started because of a
Yeah.
fundraiser. But, after that, I was like, I don't need all this hair. Society says, you're a woman, you need this hair. So but my authentic self says, no, I don't want to mess with it. Right. And now every month it's a different color or a different crazy thing. Um, but that's part of being authentic to who I am. And when I do those things, automatically I feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And when I don't, I feel the drag down,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, um, I wonder if what's your thoughts around the idea that as long as you're not too far outside of the box, you're okay. But what if you're way outside of the box and that's your real authentic self? Like, how do have you had any experience around that, or what's your thoughts around that as well? Right?
I mean, in my opinion, you brought up the word society. Um, who decides what is acceptable or not? And my my view at this point is live your life however you want to, as long as you're not negatively impacting the free will of another human being. That would be too far.
Yeah.
But if you're just doing you and what makes you happy and doing what you want to do to express yourself, you're not hurting anyone else. How far can you take it? Like, whatever you
Right.
want to do, if it makes you happy, do it.
Sure.
And a lot of stuff's like this mindset of, oh, if you do this, tattoos, piercings, stuff, if that's a form of expression for somebody, you're going to regret that. Why would I regret what I'm doing if I'm living authentically.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
So, for anybody, do you like take and it's like take risks. We
Okay.
work these jobs. Most people, I mean, 85% of people globally are unengaged with what they do because they don't have a passion for what they're doing. They just
As far
ended
as
up
work, you mean?
as far
Yeah.
as their
Okay.
vocation. So why are you working a job that you don't enjoy when you could make a career out of anything? There's kids playing video games making millions of dollars a year. You know what?
I
Like
know.
literally with the internet, anything can be a job and you can make money. But people don't want to take a risk. And what are you working for anyways when you really look at it? Most people are just buying stuff. And what are you buying things for? To impress people that
Perhaps.
really
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
care anyways, right?
Yeah.
Um, so it's like instead of that, get out of the rat race, do what really drives you. And if your job does, awesome. Do what you love, but you shouldn't be spending 40 hours a week doing something that you don't like.
Exactly.
And instead of buying things or whatever, if you want to travel or live off the grid or live in an RV traveling, do that. If that's authentically what you want, live without apologizing. Nobody, regardless of what your decisions are or what you decide like is best for you, nobody should be making you feel guilty about what you're doing, even though that's not what they want for you. People have perceptions of who you are, and it's different than how you perceive yourself,
Yeah.
right? So you can either try to please everyone, which you never will do, no matter what decisions you make. Someone's not going to agree with what you're doing, but you can always make decisions that you agree with.
So I'm curious. So I know at the beginning you talked about that kind of self-reflection, about, you know, who you are, what you are, passionate about, and etc. Um, and kind of looking at that as a way to lead to a more authentic life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess I wondered, it, first of all, do you think that that's a journey versus a destination, that authentic life? And then, second of all, in your pursuit of this, what have you found to be um, obstacles that you've had to overcome, and how might you have overcome some of those obstacles?
Yeah, I think everything in life is a journey,
Okay.
not a destination. Even in regards to goal setting and accomplishment, we want immediate gratification typically, especially in this society, right? If our order isn't there the next day, it's late, and so
I mean,
we,
that's what the internet has taught us. I mean, everything is instant. Like literally,
yeah,
something could be going down, at the corner here, and someone's got it on film, and
yep.
we can access it, 100 different ways. So yeah,
So the problem is that we focus so much on results, which I think it's important to have a vision for where you want to go or what you want to accomplish, but I don't think there's enough emphasis put on who you become by working hard to accomplish what you want to accomplish, right? That's more important is the person that you become by working hard. So it's always a journey. It's always ever changing. Everything in life is impermanent. Accept that and do the best you can daily. As far as obstacles, I mean, people are going to hate on you.
yeah,
Like, that's it. Straight up, the biggest obstacle is other people's opinions. Family, friends, loved ones, whatever. You want to take a risk and change career paths. You want to start eating vegan because you believe that plants can heal disease. Whatever it is, people are going to respond based on their limited perception of what you're saying.
or their
So
fears.
I think fear is gigantic,
Yeah,
100%. And so you're going to have to kind of traverse things on your own for a while. And I've always felt like if you're doing what you should be doing, you're living authentically and you're making decisions that are positive for you, not like doing drugs every day or something, but making positive decisions. If people are hating on you about that, you're doing something right. You're just beyond their capacity to understand what your vision is, and it's not you don't need to explain anything to anybody. And if people love you and care about you, then they'll be there to support you. So if you have haters, you're probably
you're
doing
probably on the
something
right.
correctly.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Um, I'm curious. Is there a way that perhaps you have found to be most useful when it comes to that self-reflection, to get on this journey? And I say to even get on the journey, but even along the way during this journey, is there a particular method or source or something that you commonly use to begin that self-reflection?
Yeah. So the most important thing I think is getting to it's developing the relationship with yourself. How well do you know yourself? It starts there, and the way that I use to do that is meditation.
Which is awesome.
But there,
Yeah.
journaling is great. Get those thoughts out and then read back and look at what you wrote, or focusing on gratitude. I mean, there's a lot. Poetry again is something else, but just developing the relationship with yourself, spending some time alone, more time alone, away from any type of stimulus, go out into nature, take a walk in the woods, like start to spend time and be introspective, um, and then pay attention to how things affect you. Intuition is huge too, but I feel like that's a different element, which is difficult to even explain what intuition is,
Right.
right?
I think some people have a more developed intuition than others.
Yeah.
Are there particular questions that you find to be helpful in beginning that process?
um, See, I'm more of a feeling kind of person than a like a question type of person, but I actually like that idea. I think for a lot of people, my friend Nancy actually says she likes to get curious when she talks with her clients. Get curious about everything, and I think that's part of it. Asking questions, looking at things beyond face value, looking deep into things, and how you're affected by whatever. What's desirable, what's not, and accepting responsibility for yourself, knowing that you have the capacity and ability to change anything that you want to change, and just start small. Baby steps.
Yeah, right.
You know.
What do you think? So it's interesting because a lot of the things that we've talked about today are less tangible. And I'm not talking about materialistic things, but like they're a little bit harder to grasp, kind of like the intuition piece that we just mentioned.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say was the most tangible thing that developed once you started on this path and once you started to become, get to a place where this was more natural for you?
It is. You're right. It's society in general is very physically based and minded, and we focus on everything that has to do with what we can perceive through our five senses. And there's so much more to life beyond that, and that's what I mostly utilize. But for anyone listening, um, it's really diving deep. Who are you, and how do you feel? If you, I guess maybe one thing would be being more conscious of what you're doing, right?
Okay.
Bringing more consciousness
So
to the
some
table.
mindfulness, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and having um, having reasons behind every decision that you make, and just start thinking about that. So it's like, why am I working this job? Why am I in this relationship? Why? How do I feel every day? It's, I guess, like asking questions. Like you said, and then start to answer things for yourself. And if you don't have good reasons why you do the things that you do, that's a good starting point. You know, Either change what you're doing or come up with better reasons why you do the things you do.
Sure. So as we start to wind up, any last thoughts? Anything that you feel like, oh, I really need to get this out there. They really need to know this.
I think if we lived each day reminding ourselves that we're going to die one day, that we would waste less time on things that don't matter. And, one of the biggest motivations for me in the past was knowing that when I'm older, if I'm lucky enough to be surrounded by family in the hospital on my deathbed, a little morbid, I guess, maybe, but when
Sure.
I look back on my life, I don't want to have regrets,
Good.
and I feel like no matter what chances you take in life, if you take that chance, even if you fail miserably, you won't regret it because you know how it turned out. You gave it your all.
Exactly.
You know.
Well, thank you so much. I
You're welcome.
appreciate it. So remember, you can change your thoughts, discover your potential, and transform your life by focusing on your overall well-being. So until next time, continue working on being the best you possible. Bye now.